So just here on this fine evening to give a preliminary lesson on the law of the sea. As the eye can see, the sea is big, but there's nowhere that the law does not pretend to reach. See these barnacles growing on the rocks without a permit? We see these boats out here, potential hazards to life, limb, and property. This is a place where the law needs to go. So I'm here to investigate a complaint about a possible unregistered vessel, violator of the terms of the Canada Shipping Act. My concern today is more with the compliance side. As we know, the law is only as good as its capacity to enforce. So I'm here, so to speak, to lay down the law for the sea. Sometimes a fine is what'll work. Sometimes the vague but empty promise that the administrative state is actually authorized to enforce terms of imprisonment, it isn't. Sometimes just a little good old-fashioned enforcement. I like to call it alternate dispute resolution. But first, an investigation. Even here in this vast realm of what the fuck are those geese doing there? A vessel? Without a permit? See, this is a wild place. A wild place in need of the ordering capacity of the law. But even here, due process is in order. Even here, we recognize that not all apparent offenders have actually offended in fact. So we'll go through the preliminaries and do an investigation. But I think we have a possible offender here. For a certain number of miles from the foreshore, these waters remain what are called territorial waters, governed by the law of Canada, generally speaking. So that means right here is governed by the terms and conditions of, amongst other acts of legislation, the Canada Shipping Act, the Navigable Waters Act, the Wrecked and Abandoned Vessels Act. However, if I go too far out that away, end up crossing from territorial waters into a zone that is considerably more ambiguous. Economic protection zone, sometimes. Beyond that, international waters, also known as the high seas. No man's land, or almost, when it comes to the arm of the law. Governed, if at all, by the attempts put in place by the International Marine Organization to create some semblance of order out here on the high seas, lest the law of greed and piracy, of rape and plunder, take over from where otherwise the logic of the law might protect life and limb. Treaties are in place, forms of agreement that govern humane contact, hoping to separate the human from the not, to draw a line that says this counts as human and this does not. Piracy, random plunder, the taking of fish such as cod from waters that belong to a foreign jurisdiction. It's not easy on this road of life. Some vessels need a little help. Some need to be forgiven. Some need to go to jail. But given that the Shipping Act is really more an administrative instrument than a penal one, no real jail for violators. Administrative penalties up to $250,000. Indeterminacy, ambiguity, thin line separating the human from the barnacular. And beyond that, past where the law reaches, beyond the territory of piracy, God's law, the law of the sea.